Being Spider-Man seems like the ultimate fantasy. Super strength, wall crawling, web slinging through the city. What's not to love? You get to fight crime, save people, and look cool doing it. But in reality, being Spider-Man would be one of the worst lives imaginable. It's not just the constant battles or the never-ending danger. It's the crushing weight of responsibility, the personal sacrifices, and the fact that no matter how hard you try, you will never truly win. So let's break it down. Here's why being Spider-Man would absolutely suck. First, you'd always be broke. Being a superhero doesn't come with a salary. Unlike Iron Man, who funds his own tech, or Batman, who has billions to throw at crime fighting, Spider-Man is just some broke college student trying to survive. Peter Parker's daily life consists of struggling to pay rent, barely affording food, and constantly needing to replace his costume when it gets shredded in battle. And web fluid? That's not free. In the comics, Peter literally has to make his own webbing, meaning he has to spend money on rare chemicals just to keep swinging around the city. And guess what? When you can barely afford groceries, buying expensive lab supplies isn't exactly easy. Even worse, every time Peter does get a job, Spider-Man ruins it. He tries working for the Daily Bugle, but J. Jonah Jameson spends more time slandering him than paying him. He gets fired from countless other jobs because he's always late or disappearing at the worst times. He can't even use his genius-level intellect to make money because anything profitable, like selling tech or working for a big company, would take too much time away from his superhero duties. So no matter what, Spider-Man is broke. And speaking of being late, you'd never be on time for anything. Spider-Man's life doesn't work on a schedule. You can plan to show up for a date, an exam, or an important meeting. But the city doesn't care. Right when Peter is about to do something important, his spider sense goes off. A robbery, a runaway car, a supervillain tearing through downtown. And what does he do? He has to drop everything and go. That means late to work, you're fired, missed your exam, too bad, you fail. Left your date hanging? Yeah, don't expect them to stick around. Even worse, Peter can't even tell people why he's late. If he tries, he risks exposing his secret identity, which could put them in danger. So, to the rest of the world, he just looks like an unreliable loser who never follows through. He can't even rely on superhero excuses like, "I was saving the world." Instead, all his friends and coworkers just assume he's lazy, irresponsible, or just doesn't care. And speaking of keeping secrets, your villains know where you live. Most superheroes have a layer of protection between their personal lives and their hero work. Batman has Wayne Manor and the Batcave. Superman has a whole other planet he can retreat to. The X-Men live in a heavily fortified mansion filled with mutants. Spider-Man? He lives in a tiny apartment. A tiny apartment that's ridiculously easy to find. It doesn't matter how careful Peter is. His enemies always figure out who he is. And when they do, they don't come for him. They come for the people he loves. The Green Goblin figured it out and dropped Gwen Stacy off a bridge, killing her in front of Peter's eyes. Dr. Octopus found out and tormented Peter's friends and family for years. Venom knew instantly, because the symbiote bonded with Peter first. It didn't need to figure out his identity, it just knew. And because Spider-Man isn't some untouchable god, because he's just a regular guy with regular people in his life, his loved ones are always at risk. Aunt May? Shot. Mary Jane? Kidnapped. Gwen? Dead. And every time Peter tries to keep people safe, it backfires. He either has to lie to them, push them away, or hope they don't become a target. Which brings us to the next point. No one appreciates you. You'd think that saving lives every day would make you a hero in the public's eyes, right? Not if you're Spider-Man. The second he started fighting crime, the media turned against him. J. Jonah Jameson, the loudest voice in New York, hates Spider-Man. And because he runs the biggest newspaper in the city, he controls the narrative. So no matter how many times Spider-Man saves the city, people still think he's a menace. He stops a robbery, Jameson says he's the criminal. He saves someone from a fire, Jameson says he probably started it. He takes down a supervillain, Jameson asks why the villain was there in the first place. Was Spider-Man responsible? Even the police don't trust him. Unlike the Avengers, who have government backing, Spider-Man is on his own. Half the time, when he's out fighting crime, the cops are chasing him too. He saves the city daily, and yet, Iron Man gets awards. Captain America gets respect, Spider-Man gets slandered, and there's nothing he can do about it. But the worst part? No matter what, you always lose. This is the most heartbreaking part of being Spider-Man. No matter how hard you try, you will always lose something. You can save hundreds of people, but you'll still lose the one who mattered most. You can fight crime for years, but there will always be another villain. You can protect the people you love, but they will always be in danger. Peter Parker has lost everything at some point. His uncle, killed because Peter hesitated to act. His first love, killed right in front of him. His best friend, turned into his worst enemy. No matter how fast he runs, he can't outrun tragedy. And the worst part? He can never stop. He can't retire. He can't hang up the mask. Because if he does, people die. That's why being Spider-Man isn't just about swinging through the city and cracking jokes. It's about pain, sacrifice, loss. At the end of the day, Spider-Man is one of the greatest superheroes of all time. He's funny, he's brave, and he never gives up. But would you actually want to be him? Would you want to struggle with money every day? Be late to everything? Constantly put your loved ones in danger? Be hated by the very city you save? Lose everyone you care about again and again? Sure, swinging through New York looks fun, but being Spider-Man? That would absolutely suck.